Hey everyone, Theo here. Today I'm reviewing the Xppen Artist Pro 19 Gen 2. So this is an 18.4-inch pen display with 4K resolution. And it comes with a matte glass surface that is really nice to work with. There is no touch support though. Okay, first of all, disclaimer, this is a review unit provided by Xppen. And in this video, I'll just present to you my findings so that you can decide whether this is worth the money. And the price of this pen display is US $899 and it comes with 18 months of warranty. Let's get down to the bottom line. This is a beautiful pen display and the pen performance is excellent. The pen performance is consistent, predictable, and is definitely good enough for creating professional art. Cursor tracking is very accurate even at the extreme edges, and you can see the visuals look really sharp. Oh, by the way, as I put out this review on YouTube, Xppen is going to release the Artist Pro 24 Gen 2 4K pen display in a few hours time. So I have already reviewed the 14, the 16, and now the 19, and hopefully I can get my hands on the 24 to review that as well for you guys. My experience with the Gen 2 pen displays so far is very positive. Okay, let's get back to the 19. So I measured color support for 98% sRGB, 85% NTSC, 91% OWRGB, and 85% P3. So the color accuracy of this pen display is pretty good, and the maximum brightness I've measured is around 230 nits. It would be good if the brightness could be higher, but it's not too bad. So this pen display supports USB-C video connection, so it's possible to use a single cable to your computer to power this pen display. But if you want to get maximum brightness, you have to attach another cable to power source. Design of this pen display looks beautiful to me. I love the clean and simple design. There are no hotkeys, but you can use the shortcut remote that's included if you want shortcuts. Now the feet can only deploy at this height, so if you need this higher, you will have to buy a separate tablet stand. So the bottom line is this pen display looks good and it works well. By the way, I have a favor to ask of you. If you have the intention to buy this pen display, do consider using the affiliate links that I have for you in the video description below to support my YouTube channel. Alright, let's move on to the full review. Let's take a look at the items included in the box. This is how the packaging box looks. And this beautiful artwork was created by Shanjiang, the same artist that created the artworks on the boxes for the Artist Pro 14 Gen 2 and Artist Pro 16 Gen 2. And this is the back that shows some of the items included and the specifications. I will go through the specifications as I talk about the product later. Let's have a look inside. So this is big. This is huge. That's the color calibration report, and all the items are packed very neatly. There are so many items in the box, so let's go through them one by one. In this box, we have a 30-watt USB-C power adapter with interchangeable plugs. The pen display has already been color calibrated at the factory, and this is the color calibration report. Average delta E is the variance between input color and output color, so anything less than 2 is good. Anything less than 1 is great, and we get 0.78 here. Here's the quick start guide. Warranty info. The pen display comes with 18 months of warranty, one artist glove, and a rather thick microfiber cleaning cloth. This is the Xppen ACK05 wireless shortcut remote. I will not talk too much about this shortcut remote in this review because I have already made a dedicated full review for this a long time ago. This is the USB-A to USB-C charging cable for the ACK shortcut remote. This is a 2-to-1 cable. On this end that goes to the computer, there is a USB Type-A connector and HDMI full-size connector, and on the other end it's a L-shaped USB-C connector, and there is this thing here with a USB-C port, and you have to connect this to power. There are two 1.5 meter long braided USB-C to USB-C cables. If you are using HDMI video connection, you need to use these two cables. This will connect the power adapter to this. These are the replacement pen nibs included. There are 2 packs of plastic nibs and 1 pack of felt nibs. This is the pen case, and it can attract fingerprints quite easily. So this top part is actually curved down slightly so that you can put the pen on top. There are magnets here to close the cover, and the build quality of this pen case is quite solid. There are 2 rubber feet at the bottom, and everything is matte textured. You get 2 pens. This is the X3 Pro Slim Stylus, and this is the X3 Pro Roller Stylus. That's the pen nib remover, and there are extra replacement pen nibs in this box as well. The thicker pen nibs, the felt and the plastic nibs, are for the roller stylus, and this thinner one is for the slim stylus. This is the USB-A wireless receiver for the shortcut remote if needed, and this is a replacement cover for the slim pen. This plate with the 2 side buttons can actually be removed. You just pull it out like that, and if you don't want to use the side buttons, you can just put this in instead. Now this is going to be more useful because this is going to give you the right click. When you put this back in, make sure the protruded part goes in first, then press down so that it locks into place and the buttons are firm. These 2 pens support tilt and 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. They are not powered by battery, so no charging is required. The build quality for both is fantastic. The slim stylus has a matte textured plastic body that provides a good grip, and this is comfortable to hold. The pen tip has minimal movement when in contact with the drawing surface. The roller stylus also comes with 2 side buttons, and there is an additional roller or wheel here. And this grip is silicone, and you can see this part here is actually thicker. And this also provides a good grip, and this is also very comfortable to hold. The pen tip also has minimal movement when in contact with the drawing surface. So this is the Xppen Artist Pro 19 Gen 2 pen display, and the design looks similar to the Artist Pro 14 Gen 2 and the Artist Pro 16 Gen 2. So the corners are rounded off, the bezels are uniform on all 4 sides, and there is this wrist rest area. And on the back, there is the fold-out feet, and there is rubber feet here at the 5 areas. This is a 7.5 by 7.5 centimeters VESA mount. The whole back is metal, and I love the matte textured surface and the color. It may not be obvious, but this pen display is actually quite thin. Okay, it's not that thin, but it's about as thin as a laptop. And notice this side here, which is curved. It's nice, and the edge here is beveled so that it's not sharp. Here on the top, we have 2 USB-C ports. They are not labeled, so they are interchangeable. And buttons for the power and brightness. This is a comfortable angle to work with for drawing when the 2 fold-out feet are deployed. If you need to prop this up further, you will have to put the pen display on a laptop stand or a tablet stand. And thankfully the front here is actually quite thin, so as long as your tablet or laptop stand has a ledge that is big enough, it is possible to put this on that stand. And the stand that I would recommend is the Pablo PR100, or you can consider this stand that I'm showing you on the screen right now. The links are in the video description below. Let's talk about connections. So this pen display supports USB-C video and HDMI video, so you can choose to use either one. If you choose to use USB-C video, it is possible for you to power this pen display with just one single USB-C cable connection. However, you may not be able to power the pen display at maximum brightness. And if you use your laptop to power this pen display, it's going to drain your laptop battery very quickly, so it's best to connect your laptop to a power source. So because my laptop is not able to power this pen display at maximum brightness, this is the connection to the laptop, I have to connect another cable to power source. Let's look at HDMI video connection. Let's say the HDMI port on your laptop is here. Remember, the other cable has a USB-A connector, so if your computer or laptop does not have a USB-A port, you need to buy yourself a USB-C to USB-A adapter, which is not included. And if the USB port is here on the other side, it's going to look like this. If your USB port is on the same side as the HDMI, that is great because it will look like this. And this, of course, will go behind the laptop. So this is the unit with the two cables that are coming out, and this is the cable with the USB-C connector which will go to the pen display. This setup will not power the pen display, so you need to connect this unit here to extra power. So this is the other USB-C cable. With a Spider X2 color calibrator, I measured maximum brightness of 220 nits with extra power connected. Without the extra power, I measured maximum brightness of 130 nits, which is noticeably lower. Since I'm using a dual display setup, I have to color calibrate this display as well so that the colors on both displays can match. And we are done. This display has already been color calibrated at the factory, and the colors do look good out of the box, so you may not need to do your own color calibration. So I measured color support for 98% sRGB, 85% NTSC, 91% Adobe RGB, and 85% P3. I do graphic design for print, so I only use displays with at least 95% Adobe RGB or higher, and this display has 91% Adobe RGB, which is quite close, so the color accuracy of this display is reasonably good. Do note that Adobe RGB displays are significantly more expensive compared to sRGB displays, so I guess you do get what you pay for in terms of the color quality you can get from this display. Let's see what the driver can do, and this is the Windows driver version 4.0.4. The Mac driver should have most of the features with slight differences. So this is where you can calibrate the pen if there is any cursor misalignment, and this is where you can set the work area. I'm going to leave that as default. Under display settings, you can adjust the brightness, contrast, the color space. There are options for sRGB, Adobe RGB, P3, user. You can also customize the color temperature and the RGB. Certain options may be locked depending on which color space you choose. And this is where you can customize the pressure curve of the pen, and they have a new UI design for the pressure test. You can choose from the pre-programmed pressure curves, or you can just drag the 3 control points around to get the curve that you like. Now under this section, you can customize the 2 pens. If you use this drop box here, you can choose which pen to customize, and the shortcuts will be specific to that pen, which is quite cool. And here are just well, where you can save or export the configuration files. Once you have paired the shortcut remote to your computer using Bluetooth, you can use the same driver to customize the shortcuts. So you can do that by choosing the shortcut remote here from the drop-down menu to customize. The shortcut remote has 10 customizable keys, and this wheel can be customized with 4 functions. If you don't like the horizontal layout, you can choose from the drop-down menu here to rotate it 90 degrees so that it's vertical. I'm going to keep this horizontal. So to customize the keys, just tap on the keys and you can input your own keyboard shortcuts or choose from the pre-programmed shortcuts. One of the shortcuts is called key group switching. So you see these toggles here. You can actually create up to 4 groups of shortcuts and use the key group switching to switch between the different groups of shortcuts. And here at the top, you can actually add an app that you use, maybe Photoshop, Illustrator, or some other app, and you can create groups of shortcuts for that app, and those shortcuts will automatically launch depending on which app is active. Time for the line test. The app that I'm using is MIDI Bang Paint, and as I write these letters, I can tell straight away that this pen is really sensitive. So let's start with the diagonal line test. This is how thick the brush really is. And now let's draw a thin line with minimal pressure and minimal speed. By the way, I have already tweaked the pressure curve to help me draw the thin lines more easily. Because at the default settings, the thin lines still look kind of thick to me. And this looks pretty straight to me. Maybe there is slight jitter, but it's not really noticeable. And this is me drawing really slowly, slower than usual. This is fast. This actually looks fine to me. This pen is really sensitive, so now I'm holding the pen all the way at the back, drawing with almost no pressure. So it's just the weight of the pen on the pen display, and I can get this very thin lines when the brush is this thick. Next, let's test the tapered strokes. So this is looking great. This is very natural. It starts off thinner, becomes thick, and then tapers down very smoothly and sharply. So this looks really good. Next, let's look at the line transition from thin to thick and back to thin. This looks good. The line transition is smooth, and I don't really see much wobble or jitter. Let's look at pressure consistency. I'm going to maintain the consistent line width by maintaining consistent pressure, and this looks fine. This is also a diagonal line. Now if I'm very critical, I would say there is slight wobble here. Let's draw some dots. Works fine. Next, let's test for cursor misalignment. So I'm going to draw separate lines and try to join them. This is my usual drawing speed. So I'm trying to join the lines by looking at where the pen tip is rather than where the cursor is. And it seems like I am able to join the, you know what, I'm trying to use touch, but this pen display does not support touch. And yes, I would say the pen is quite accurate and there are no issues with cursor misalignment. And as I draw all these boxes, you can also see the line variation. There is thin and there is thick, so that will actually make your line art look, give your line art more character. Let's try cross hatching. Seems fine. I'm not sure if you can see the cursor, but the cursor is following the direction of the pen. So tilt sensitivity works fine. Here's a thin horizontal line, broad horizontal line, broad vertical, thin vertical. This is Sketchbook Pro. So we have minimal pressure and now heavy pressure. This is with tilt. This is tilt with pressure. So you can get thin, thicker, and broad strokes easily with this app and with this pen. If you are into writing, this pen has really good handwriting and note-taking performance. Let's look at latency. So the line is trying to catch up with the pen tip, but the gap is not like that big. So latency performance with this pen display is decent. This is the typical amount of latency you get with pen displays. And now let's talk more about the drawing experience, which is really good. So this is a really comfortable size to work with. And right now I'm actually using the 1080p workspace, but with 4K sharpness. So all the visuals look really sharp, and the size for the text, the icons, the palettes, they look big and comfortable to see. The app that I'm using is Millibank Paint. And this matte textured surface provides a nice tactile drawing experience. It's not exactly paper-like, but it doesn't feel plasticky at all. So the experience is actually really good. And now I'm drawing with minimal pressure just to get the thin lines. And this is how thick the brush really is. So this pen is very sensitive. This pen can create thin and thick lines very easily. So with the line variation, you can make your line art look more expressive. Let's draw with thicker lines, thinner lines, thin, thick, and we can have some thin lines for the fabric. There is this roller here for the thicker pen that you can customize with pre-programmed shortcuts, or you can input your own keyboard shortcut. So right now I have it set to adjust the brush size. There are two speeds you can choose, standard and slow. So this is the standard one, and as I turn one click, you can actually hear the click. It would change by 1 pixel. For the slow setting, I will have to turn 2 clicks to get a pixel change. Unfortunately, there is no fast setting where I can change the brush size very quickly. So if you need to change the brush size very quickly, you have to roll very quickly. I'm not using the shortcut remote because I prefer to use my keyboard shortcuts from the keyboard instead. I just love how expressive the lines can be when you vary the pressure. I love the tactile experience when drawing on this matte surface, this matte glass. And right now I'm holding the pen at a very low angle, and cursor misalignment is definitely not an issue. The cursor is still directly beneath the pen tip. There is no eraser though, so you will have to select the eraser tool in order to erase. I certainly do not have any issues with diagonal line wobble, even though the line test may suggest diagonal line wobble. So this is a diagonal line. Oops, that's due to my technique. And this looks pretty straight to me. The pen glides really smoothly on the display, but it's not slippery. Let's draw a few more diagonal lines. This looks pretty straight to me. And this is also a diagonal line. This is quite straight. Oops. Let me just leave it as it is. Let me make this line longer. So no issues with joining lines because there are no issues with cursor misalignment. Okay, let's see what we have here. Looks fine. For coloring, you can press down harder to get the broad strokes to color or the fill areas very quickly. Or you can just press with minimal pressure to paint within tight or small areas. So my workflow is very smooth. I think I've pretty much said almost everything I wanted to say about the pen performance. It's really good. The pen performance is consistent and predictable, and this is definitely good enough for creating professional art. No issues with hatching lines. Lines are able to taper smoothly and sharply. This display feels slightly warm, but it's not hot. The temperature would be quite similar to what you would get when you are charging a tablet. Alright, I'm done. The pen is accurate and sensitive. The workflow is smooth without any issues. And the overall experience with drawing on this pen display is excellent. So if you are interested to buy this pen display, consider using the affiliate links that I have for you in the video description below to support my YouTube channel and the work that I do here. I do get to earn some commission, but at no extra cost to you, and your support is what makes it possible for me to review all these products that you see on my channel. I hope this review is useful. See you guys in the next video. Bye!